You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Hi, everyone. Debbie Loucks here to share more of Monty's concepts and wisdom about the trust and insight we can learn from horses and apply them to our own lives. Welcome to the 7th episode reading from the Horse Sense for People book. This chapter is about discovering the language of Equus. Sadly, my grandfather was insensitive and abusive to his horses and my father. For a young boy, it was people versus horses. With people, he felt isolated and alone. With horses, he marveled at their community and their intelligence. Listen in.
Discovering the language of Equus. In 1948, I made my first of many trips to Nevada. There, deep in the heart of Indian and ranching country, I watched the wild mustangs and began to recognize that there was a discernible vocabulary in their actions and movements. There were quiet times during our trek in which I could observe the mustangs interacting with one another. I think I was driven more by intuition than by a desire to communicate with horses. But this experience opened the door to a process of communication that would help me find common ground between human and horse. This early knowledge was the foundation of all that I am today as a horseman. A few years later, as a boy of 15, I was convinced that it would be possible to get a wild mustang to turn and come back to me of his own volition, so that he would join up with me instead of fleeing. It was a wild undertaking, but there in the desert in 1951, I caused a mustang colt, about 3 or 4 years old, to join up with me in one day. I started out one morning, and within a couple of hours or so, I had a young mustang separated from the herd and was driving him away from the group by using what I now know to be crude gestures in the language of Equus. Even though I had a lot to learn, I was able to utilize the principles of advance and retreat to make it uncomfortable for him when he was negative and very comfortable for him when he was positive. Within 24 hours, having stopped to feed and water my saddle horses, while allowing the mustang to do the same, I had full control over his movements. In one day, I could cause him to willingly follow me around. He was relaxed and comfortable. I didn't take it any further because my time was limited. I was certain that people I knew would embrace my accomplishment. Sadly, that was not the case. I must have anticipated meeting with some disbelievers, but when the word got back to my father and his friends, I was further put down. My mother was the only one that gave me any credit, but I'm not sure she completely believed me. Today, I can understand how in the early 1950s my claims seemed utterly impossible. During my childhood, I lived in 2 distinctly separate worlds, one with horses, the other with people. My world with horses was one of comfort and understanding, but with people, I felt isolated and alone. I went behind closed doors at that point, and it wasn't until early 1985 that I attempted to demonstrate to my father the effectiveness of my work. I explained that what I was doing was based on what I had learned out there in the desert. Even at that late date, he was too set in his ways to give ground. Father and son relationships can be powerful and often unchanging, as ours was. My father tenaciously clung to his beliefs, and I to mine.
Tired of juggling brushes, curry combs, and shedding blades? Say hello to HandsOnGloves, the all-in-one grooming solution horse lovers swear by. Whether you're currying out winter coats, giving a deep massage, or rinsing down after a ride, HandsOnGloves fit like, a glove, and they turn grooming time into bonding time. They're flexible, durable, and they stay on your hands, wet or dry, so your horse stays calm and you stay in control. No slipping, no dropping, no kidding. Groom, bathe, and de-shed all with your hands. Visit HandsOnGloves.com today and feel the difference. Your horse will thank you. If you can't come take a class in person, Monty Roberts Online University brings the classroom to you. With over 800 video lessons, Monty teaches you his world-renowned methods, join up, trailer loading, starting young horses, and solving behavioral challenges, all without violence. Named one of Horse and Hound magazine's top 50 horsemen of all time, Monty shares a lifetime of experience to help you build trust and partnership with your horse. Join the thousands around the world who are transforming their horsemanship, one gentle lesson at a time. Visit MontyRobertsUniversity.com. Because if you listen to your horse will listen to you.
In February of 1997, I adopted 3 Mustangs with the intention of repeating my experience of the 1950s. This time I was older and wiser, though somewhat less agile, and determined to record the event on film. Once again, I confronted a Mustang in the wilderness. I knew now that if I could persuade him to trust me, I could cause him to accept his first saddle, bridle, and rider without force or pain. Just as in 1951, Equus proved to be constant and reliable. This experience proved to be one of the most gratifying of my life. The subsequent BBC and PBS television documentary about the Mustang, which I named Shy Boy, during the long 24-hour ride through the Cuyama Valley, was shown around the world. I named him Shy Boy during that all-night ride when he tried to be so stealthful. That program became very popular, and when I conducted my lectures and demonstrations, I often heard remarks like, "What do you think that Mustang would do if you took him back out in the wild and turned him loose? Would he go with the herd or return to me?" I guess it took more than 100 queries before I realized that I had to accept another challenge. By this time, Shy Boy had been ridden for nearly a year and had been treated very well. If I gave him the opportunity to choose between the wild horses in the wilderness or his newfound domestication and me, which would he choose? It was not without trepidation that Shy Boy was released to make his own choice. I decided to document his release just as we had in our first dramatic encounter. We went back out there and found the herd that he knew before and released him. The wranglers who accompanied me in the field crew watched and waited, scanning the desert hills for any sign of his return. He'd rejoined the herd without hesitation, and they welcomed him, and they galloped off together. Through the remains of that day, and through the night, I watched for him. In the early light of morning, we saw the herd on the crest of a hill. One horse stepped away from the others. I waited. Then Shy Boy came down the hill, galloping through the high grass. Running directly to me, he put his head in my chest, and in the language of Equus clearly stated that he was happy to be back with me. He had deliberately chosen to join up with people over returning to his own kind. I've always asserted that a happy horse that lives his work is better than one who has been forced. This has always been very difficult to demonstrate, but for me, there was no longer any question about it. A Mustang, born into the world of absolute flight, chose caring people over his own kind. Shy Boy made his choice because I had gained his trust. Using his own language, I had assured him that I was not predatorial, and I'd made it clear to him that he could come to and stay with me without fear.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as we did. If you're eager to learn more and connect with the incredible world of Monty Roberts, we have so much more to share. Beyond our insightful books, you can explore comprehensive courses through our online university. Join us at inspiring events and tap into a wide variety of educational materials. It all starts at MontyRobertsUniversity.com/library.